Once upon a time, there was a garden. Its beauty and grace, its peace and gentleness were wondrous reflections of the one who had planted and cared for it. He walked in his garden often. Everything seemed to celebrate when he was there. It was something about his presence. Just being together seemed to be what they lived for. His favorite part of the garden seemed to be where his grapevines grew. Was it the sweet fragrance of their grape blossoms in the spring? Or their enthusiasm for growing longer and longer? Or their eagerness to bear more and more fruit? Perhaps it was that they reminded him of his special vine, which had always and forever grown up by his house. Whatever it was, the time he spent with them seemed to fill him with such joy.
Listen, please listen to me now.
He said to the vines one day,
It is often that which appears most innocent. It is often that which seems most harmless. It is often those things most beautiful and inviting, which can, in the end, bring your destruction. For many, the birds of the air are beautiful friends, but for you, they are your enemies. They will devour your fruit if they can. But there's a hidden danger, so listen carefully and trust what I say. Don't let the birds build a nest in your branches. They may carry an insect, an aphid-like insect which they bring from the wild vines which grow outside my garden. They're called phylloxera. Their eggs they will lay in galls on your leaves, and your roots they'll devour to your destruction.
The vines listened. The days passed. One morning, a robin came. From what the vines could see, he was beautiful. But even more than that, his song. It was somehow so inviting. One of the vines said,
"If only I could hear it a little bit better."
But then he remembered the keeper's warning.
Don't let the birds build a nest in your branches. They may carry an insect, an aphid-like insect which they bring from the wild vines which grow outside my garden. They're called phylloxera. Their eggs they will lay in galls on your leaves, and your roots they'll devour to your destruction.
The vine shook its leaves so the robin would stay away. Each morning the keeper would come, and after he'd leave, the robin would come. It seemed the robin didn't like to be around when the keeper was near, but he had such a beautiful song.
If only he'd come closer, there could be nothing wrong with that. It's not like he'd be building a nest, and I feel so empty, so lonely. I just want to belong to someone, to be needed by someone. Maybe it could be this robin.
The next day, the keeper stayed longer than usual. The vine found itself wishing he would leave. At last,
There he is. Oh, what is he singing? The spring has come. Yes, that's what he said. And he needs a special place for a home for his family, to protect them, to shelter them. Oh, the keeper must not have understood. A cause so worthy he would surely support. It would be good of me to be the place where a nice robin family could find their rest. This can't be one of those birds. His song is much too beautiful.
so the vine stilled its leaves, and the robin came. And you know how it goes with robins. He went away and came back with another, and they hurried themselves in building their nest. They found a perfect spot deep in the heart of the vine. As for the vine, it grew its leaves larger and tighter to protect the nest.
Even though the keeper would surely agree with me, maybe it would be best if I didn't let him see the nest right away.
Now the birds didn't have to fly away when the keeper came, for they were hidden. There was so much excitement.
When the keeper was there, The mother sat very still to keep the babies quiet. I wanted him to leave. I didn't want him to touch my branches for fear he'd find out. We didn't seem close anymore, the keeper and I. But the birds were a delight and occupied my days, so I didn't think much about it. The little family grew up and flew away. I felt so alone, so empty again. Then one day, when the keeper came, I heard him say,
Phylloxera.
"Phylloxera? Where? Oh, no!"
The vine had been so busy with its robins, it hadn't noticed the telltale bumps on its leaves. These are only an outward sign. The keeper pulled back the leaves.
He looked down into the heart of my branches and saw the nest. Somehow it seemed he had known all along. Tears filled his eyes, and I trembled within.
The days passed. One by one, the leaves withered and couldn't catch the sun anymore.
If only I would have listened to the keeper.
The phylloxera spread. All of the vines in the garden were dying. There was found only one vine, the roots of only one vine, which could withstand the phylloxera spread. It was the vine which had always and forever grown up by the keeper's house. He had brought a cutting of it down into the garden when the other vines were being overcome. It had now grown strong and perfect.
One day I said to his special vine, "I wish I could have been like you. You're such a perfect vine." And then he said,
I am going to have to go away.
"What?"
It's important for you that I go away. For I am with you now, yes. But then I will be in you.
"Oh, whatever are you saying? I can't understand."
When I am in you, you'll understand.
"It's too late."
What seems impossible to you is possible. Because of the keeper, my father.
"You call the keeper father? How can it be? You are a vine, and he is the keeper."
He and I are one.
"Oh, I am so confused."
Just trust me.
"But you forget. I have phylloxera."
No, I have not forgotten. I have not forgotten.
And the keeper had not forgotten either. I heard him say something to his vine about it being the only way. I knew this was it for me. There was nothing left. Phylloxera meant death. It was the sharpest knife I'd ever seen, but the keeper turned to his vine instead of, no, not him. Wait, he doesn't have, not him. He never disobeyed. He never let the birds. It's me. You got the wrong. But it was too late. Then he came to me. This was it. I was so afraid. He laid me down surely to die, right next to what was left of the vine, which had always and forever grown up by his house. What was he doing now? He took the knife again and carefully and precisely carved 2 slits deep into his vine. Then he picked me up again, and in the same way he carved 2 slits into my stem, and as though it had always been planned to be, he slid me deep into the heart of his vine. I was in him. It was incredible. A perfect fit. Oh, I hope I don't fall out.
I am able to keep you from falling and present you faultless.
Whatever are you saying? But before he could answer, our keeper bound us together, oh so tightly. I felt warm and secure, like that's where I was always meant to be. But how could I? I was dead. The keeper buried me. It was cold. I was cold. I felt alone.
But you're not.
Who's that? Is it? Is it?
Yes,
You're alive.
yes,
I thought you were dead.
I was.
But
Greater is he who is in you.
greater is he who is in me?
You have been grafted into me. I am in you, and you are in me.
I am. I'd never felt closer to anyone ever. But I feel so bad. I disobeyed.
Listen, I died for you. The Keeper, our Father, has forgiven you. You must forgive yourself.
But why did it have to happen when it's too late?
Too late for what?
It's just too late. Can't you see? It's all over.
My father always says, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it abides alone. But if it dies, it brings forth much fruit. Now I believe he told me that parable because it must also relate to grapevines.
But I'm dead. My roots are gone.
You don't sound dead now.
Now that you mention it, I am feeling stronger, like there's new energy, new life. It's coming from you.
I know.
It's filling me. You're filling me. I'm going to burst. I feel like I want to call him Father.
That's what he's been waiting forever to hear.
Father? How can all this be?
This is the great mystery. He is in you. That is your hope. He is all you need.
But I was dead, and now I'm alive?
He gave his life for you. But he was raised from the dead and gave his life to you. So now he can live his life through you.
He had given his life for me. Now all I wanted to do was to be like he was, so that everyone could see him when they looked at me. I was so excited. I couldn't wait to see the fruit I'd produce now.
A new vine must not be allowed to produce fruit for 3 years.
But some vines get to have fruit their very first year.
Some vines don't have me as their keeper. Their keepers are impatient and will settle for whatever fruit they can get. If you will wait for me and trust me, you will not be disappointed. It is most important for you to let all of your energy go into developing your wood. You must learn discipline so you will grow straight and strong, so you can support your fruit when the time comes. Just trust that all that I will do will be done out of great, great love for you.
But others
Who don't have me as their keeper can grow as wild as they like. But their crooked trunks are more likely to hold disease and insects, for they can't be washed away by the rain.
I was beginning to understand how important it is to listen and how very much the keeper wants to tell me. 3 years passed. I often got impatient, but within my heart I kept hearing,
I am the vine. You are a branch.
"Does that mean you're the stem?"
No, I am the vine. You are a branch.
But the vine is the whole thing. The roots, the stem, the branches, the leaves, that's the vine.
Yes, I know. I am all and in all.
But how can this be?
Just trust me. If you abide in me, and I abide in you, you will bear much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing.
But how do I abide?
If you do what I say, you will abide in my love.
What do you want me to do?
Love one another as I have loved you.
Oh my, as you have loved me?
Yes.
Love one another? I looked around, and there were other branches, and we were all part of the same vine. And since he is in me, and I in him, and he is in them, and they are in him, that makes us all one. Oh my! Then I looked beyond, and there were other plantings, and they also had come from his vine, so we too were all one. Somehow what his vine had accomplished once and for all that day made all of this possible. He said that each of us have fruit to bear as our keeper would choose. A great mystery, but I trust him, and he told me it is so, and I believe him. I began to realize how important it is to love the others instead of wasting my fruit-growing energy on worrying about how much longer I was than they or how much more fruit they had than I. As a matter of fact, he told us that people would even be able to tell who our keeper was by the fruit of love that we have for each other. This one to whom I had been grafted told me that if I would abide in him, I could ask for anything I wanted. And now I found that what I was wanting was to want whatever my keeper wanted. I loved him so.
Finally, the 3rd year came.
This is it. I'm going to have tons of fruit. Look at all the blossoms. Wait! What are you doing? This is the 3rd year.
I must thin your fruit. If you trust me and let me choose which fruit should develop and which should be eliminated, the fruit you do bear will be strong and large and sweet, and in the places you can bear it.
But others...
I know. Other keepers don't thin the fruit, but their vine's energy gets spread too thin. The fruit is weak, and sometimes the vine is actually destroyed by the weight of too many bunches.
But others...
Listen, you are troubled by many things. Only one thing is necessary. You concentrate on abiding in me, listening to me. Enjoy the warmth of my presence. Let me be your peace. Let me be your joy. Let me be your strength. For in the end, all that will have really mattered will have been the time you shared with me. Because of what we have shared, it's no longer a question of whether you can do it, but whether you will let me do it for you. My love flowing through you will heal your deepest hurt. Belonging to me will let you live, to fill others' needs, not your own. Only what you receive from me will be what others really need. Our being together will produce beautiful fruit that will bring praise to our keeper. You focus on me as the center of your life, and our Father will do the keeping. I'll make sure you have all you need, and I'll take care of producing the fruit. All you have to do is be ready and willing to bear it.
And I understood.
The rest of the summer was taken up with the keeper untangling the branches, positioning them, tying them up, and pruning. Vines have such a tendency to want to grow in upon themselves and get entangled. The keeper spent much of his time pulling them out of their death-grip hold on one another. It was all done to keep their leaves exposed to the sun. Everything depends on this. The vine's branches were not meant to stand by themselves, so even before planting, the keeper establishes a strong support system to give the stability and guidance that is so needed. Few, if any, other plants require the constant care, the hands-on, constant care, the hours and hours of constant care that a grapevine requires. It is very costly. But for anyone watching, the responsibility of the keeper, which at first glance may seem most harsh, is pruning. But He knows that the vine cannot produce the fruit of which it is capable without it. You see, there is no plant that would more eagerly grow wild than the grapevine. Its natural tendency is to go off in many directions. The wise vine-keeper limits it to keep it strong and manageable.
There were some branches that just would not abide in the vine. They went off their own way. There were others that tried to pretend they were with us, but you could tell there was no fruit. In the end, it was very sad. The keeper was very busy with us. Tie, position in the sun, prune, tie, position in the sun, prune, prune, prune.
It would be wise for me to jump ahead at this point and tell you about the most severe pruning which comes during the dormant season, just before the buds burst in spring. You see, when the last fruit is picked, something deep inside signals the vine to prepare for the winter. All that is within the vine draws deep into its roots to wait out the storms. The keeper, knowing the vine is prepared, prunes it most drastically. What appears to be an unmerciful cutting away of all the beauty of the vine becomes the deciding difference between the strength of the vine and the quality of the fruit produced by the vine which was pruned and the vine which was not. For the one which was pruned can throw all of its energy into the production of fruit instead of trying to maintain unfruitful wood. It's the current season's growth which produces the fruit. So vigorous new growth must be produced every year. Pruning accomplishes this.
But it hurts. What did I do wrong?
This suffering is not for punishment, but to bring out your potential, or for correction or cleansing, or to point you in a new direction. It's all because He loves you.
Be encouraged. This pruning is proof that you are part of my vine, and I only prune that which I expect to bear more fruit.
Because the keeper is our Father, suffering can produce fruit. Without Him, it seems to be meaningless.
Season after season, I'd grow, bear fruit, and get pruned, so I could grow and bear more fruit and get pruned. Even though I might not have understood in the beginning, I was coming to trust that in everything, even though sometimes painful, my keeper, my Father, was working out His plan. He protected us from everything that became a threat to our being fruitful.
You see, a grapevine exists for one reason alone: to bear fruit. The wood of the vine is so soft that it is good for nothing else. The long hours of care and long hours of waiting seem to be worth it to Him.
The sun and the rain have come, summer is nearing end. All that I needed, to that He did attend. Ever so slowly, the changes I see, more than I could have dreamed, fruit of His life in me.
The keeper watches carefully, and at the perfect time, He picks the fruit. What a harvest! A very good year. And as for the fruit, does the vine, do the branches keep the fruit? No. It is produced exclusively for the pleasure and profit of the keeper, and for the benefit, nourishment, and refreshment of others to whom the keeper gives it.
And as for me, my search for intimacy, for belonging, had ended. We had been brought together by our keeper, our Father who loved us. Once all I cared about was bearing fruit, and now all my delight is in knowing and listening and being with Him. And the fruit is better than ever. I, who used to fear being lonely, am never alone. I will never be alone again. For the vine I used to look up to, the one who had always and forever been with the Father, is now in me, and I am in Him. No one could have loved me more. He gave up His branches and lets me bear His fruit. I gave up my roots and let Him become my strength and security, my foundation, my anchor, my source, my storehouse, and my protection. At last I belong. I belong to Him. I had learned to endure the pain. Because I kept my focus on the outcome, suffering was nothing compared to the joy of pleasing Him. I had grown to even be thankful for my weakness, for my weakness had brought me close to Him and close to the other branches. In losing my life, I had found my life. Some would laugh at me for needing Him and for thinking I could hear Him speak to me, and they'd tell me it was more fun and more profitable their way. But now I wasn't living for their approval, was I? Only for my Father's smile. And as for this keeper, well, it was His love for me that was willing to sacrifice His very own vine, and He made me part of that vine, an important part, with all the privileges that go with that. It was His constant care that made me into the vine I had become, and it is His great love and care that will keep me to the end.
In light of all this image holds, is it any wonder that Jesus chose the fruit of this vine by which to be remembered? Remember me. Remember what He has meant to you in the past. Remember what He means to you now. And remember what He will mean to you in the future. For He has said, I will not drink this cup until I drink it with you in my Father's kingdom. That's a promise to anticipate. His first miracle, He turned water into wine at the wedding of a friend. There's going to be another wedding, and He will be there. And all who have been grafted in, all who have come to know what it is to abide in Him, all who have borne His fruit, will be there too. Will you?
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of His terror.